Okay, go ahead with questions.
How do you feel right now about the way your team's playing overall?
Excited that with our preparation, and you can really feel this team now wanting the information about the upcoming opponents and trying to find out what can hurt us and how are they going to attack us and what are they going to do to us. And I think that's a sign of a team that's hungry for more, that they realize that they have to prepare hard each and every game. So I'm excited about that. Certainly really excited with the way we played in the first half of games recently, and don't want to jinx ourselves, but we've really come out with a focus and intensity, and even if it didn't happen in the first 5-6 minutes, that we stuck hard to the game plans, and we've really had some really productive first halves against our MAC teams. So overall, excited where we're at, but realize one at a time we have a long way to go.
The focus is on a team that's lost 7 straight games and 6 in the league. Do you get them to focus on that rather than what's going to happen on Saturday?
Well, I think when we walk into practice today, our focus will be on Western, and it's really easy to grab their attention. Last MAC team to beat us in Anderson. Last year had no business beating them, and survived and ran out of there as the ball rolled off the rim at the buzzer to beat us in regulation, and we found a way to win in overtime. So I think we get their attention right away that clearly we could have lost 2 years in a row to Western, and all you got to do is say they're the last team to beat you in Anderson Arena. So I think we'll have their attention early, and they will not overlook this team who certainly has a lot of individual talent.
Not looking past the next game, but looking at, you mentioned the Saturday game, just in terms of, I guess, the build-up for that particular game this year as opposed to maybe some previous years.
Well, certainly, hopefully our team is not looking ahead, and we're going to take one at a time. And Western has a lot of individual matchup problems that we have. But, we all know that Toledo looms. We all are the first ones to stand up and say, we believe Toledo is the team to beat this year. And I hope that they feel some of that pressure, to be honest with you, because they're so talented. But they're probably the deepest, the most balanced team in the league. They have great post strength. They have great post presence. They have an outstanding point guard. You have a fantastic three-point shooting team. So they have all the components to be the team to beat this year. So certainly that looms.
You mentioned about being the team to beat. The Eastern coach said the other night that after playing both teams that clearly that Bowling Green is the best team in the league.
Well, I thought Anne-Marie is doing a great job, and obviously we appreciate the compliment, but it might be an emotional reaction minutes after a game. I may not agree with her, but it was very, very nice to hear her thoughts after the game. It gives our kids a shot of confidence. I believe that we earned respect from a very, very good program in Eastern Michigan.
You mentioned switching back to Western, the matchup problems. What are those specifically?
Right off the bat, you have to talk about 2 individual players, and Miami Gidden. And Miami's clearly one of the most talented players in the league. And where she poses problems is she has all the guard skills, but they play her a lot at the power forward. So now your power forwards are chasing around a kid on the perimeter with tremendous perimeter skills. She can shoot it. She can drive it. She's a very smooth player. She reminds me of Jamal Wilkes back in the day. I was going to date myself, but she's very, very smooth forward. And then Ebony Cleary, who missed the early part of the season but is back with a vengeance. She is a dominating post presence and has given us trouble since she arrived in the league. She's undersized, but she's explosive. She's powerful. She's a great rebounder, and she really, really does a nice job around the basket and poses problems for us, can really get us in foul trouble in a hurry. So they have a very, very talented post game that can hurt you in different ways. And And you got to start your game plan with those two in mind.
Their guard play then, is it not as strong as it has been?
Well, I think their guard play is explosive, it's young, it's exciting, but when you replaced Tierra Delahousie, who was a 4-year starter at the point guard position and was one of the premier point guards in the league, obviously, it's a newer, but they're explosive, they're exciting to watch, they're fun, but certainly, with that comes some youthful mistakes, and hopefully we can force them into some of those mistakes in our environment and at Anderson Arena.
Who starts against Giddens?
But if they go, and they can play different lineups. So if they start her at the 4, we'll guard her at the 4. If she, is starting at the wing and they start a big lineup against us, and they are capable of doing that, then you probably are going to see a Lauren matchup on her, which are two of the best players in the league going at each other right off the bat. So we're going to have to give her different looks. It's a little bit on where they're deciding to play her. If they play smaller, they play bigger. So she'll get different looks from us all night long.
Speaking of Lauren, in terms of, the time you've been here, she's only a junior, but in terms of, if you could rank her among the players that you've coached, where does she sit?
Well, she's clearly the number one scorer I've coached. She's just an unbelievably high percentage finisher. She has the ability to make threes. She can score off the dribble. I think she's the best foul shooter in the country, and last year obviously led the nation in foul shooting. So she's the best offensive player that I've ever coached. Now, defensively is where she is so talented and doesn't get the credit she deserves. So she has to be, in the discussion of the great players I've coached, and maybe the head of that, because she plays both ends of the ball. The only thing that's a little bit different than a Kay Doctor or an Allie Mann, probably the two other fantastic players I coached, is she's a quiet leader, and she is not a very vocal player, where Allie and Kate were great leaders on top of it. And I look at all those aspects in players. If there's one area that I believe Lauren can continue to grow over the rest of this year and her senior year, is continuing to be a great leader. And if she will become a little bit more vocal and demand her teammates play day in and day out, then she's clearly the best I've ever coached. But Allie Mann and Kay Doctor practiced every day hard, were great leaders on and off the floor every single day. If I could clone any of those three, we'd be very, very lucky.
Anything else?